Hello, everyone, and welcome to a late episode of the Black Eel Podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott and Mike. We're going to be talking about the latest trailers of Fantastic Four, Superman. Um, I just watched it, Ironheart, and then we're going to be moving on to the second Thrawn book, which is Thrawn Ascendency, Greater Good.
Nailed it.
And we're going to be ending with a character spotlight from Mike. And the best part is I have no other tabs open, which makes me feel a hell of a lot better. So, let's get right into. Let's do it in order of Fantastic Four, Superman, and Ironheart.
Okay.
Just because mentally that's where my brain is.
The big thing out of that trailer is we saw Baby Reed, Baby Richards.
So this trailer gave me two things.
hmm
It gave us the and again it's a combination of all the trailers combined. This trailer
Plus some.
Well, yeah, but I meant this trailer solidified the fact that this movie is several years.
Yeah, the obvious. Well,
Well, the thought is, hear me out on why I say that, and I'll
at least it's not one consecutive. There's some time space, like
there's a huge, there's definitely some gaps.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. One of the reasons why I say that is because we get to see in one of the first trailers Ben Grimm being very depressed. However, in this trailer, we see him actually happy to show off his powers. So one of the big things I'm saying there is the fact that he's had enough time to register his powers enough to realize that he's doing good and he's not the monster he sees himself as anymore, which is a
Yeah.
huge time gap, which I'm happy to see. We also get to see a great interaction between Johnny Storm and Reed Richards, which is just funny because it's very stereotypical.
It was the classic, like Johnny, being his classic, like
A-hole.
yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to describe him because he's not. Although he's less of an a-hole than other renditions I've seen of him, this one, this was the first moment we get to see it in this version. Um,
That one made me lol out loud because I was
Honestly,
just like,
Reed's hilarious because he's just like, what?
just the blank face, and he's like,
Huh?
I say it to myself. Okay.
Alone in private. It's like,
that one.
but it's like the long pauses of, oh, I take back every bad thing I've ever said about you, and then there's silence to myself in private, and then walks away.
that like I said, that made me chuckle. That was a good one. It gives the still the classic Marvel feel where it's like, you take they still got their humor, jabs of humor.
Yeah, no, definitely, and to be fair, the dynamic works perfectly because it needs to be,
Mm.
that way. But no, I'm very curious to see timeline. Like, when I say timeline, I don't mean in the MCU. I'm talking about for this movie alone.
Well,
Like
obviously, there's
how
going to be like
multiple
out of the
movies.
MCU.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also a different universe. So the idea is, I'm curious to see like how much time we're going to be seeing. Are
how
we
much time
actually
actually passes?
are we actually going to see them go up, or like come down from the first initial? Or are we seeing? I know we talk about because most of this is going to be of them like already established and everything else. But I'm wondering now because of the big gap in time, how much? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, how much of the actual like space trip that they get their
Yeah,
powers are we going to
are
see?
they going to show the origin fully? Like, because originally we did not think so at all, but
hmm
now we're realizing that there's going to be a huge gap in time.
Could I
At
mean this
least, at very
all of
least,
this
9 months. We
all of
can at
this
least agree that.
all of this could just be like the beginning could just be a
Also,
flashback, and
also, here's
then
the thing. Also, very true. So
mhm.
we don't know, but you understand my point I'm making. I'm very
Yep.
curious on that front. Just because if you would have asked me when they first announced it, the way they described it, we would not be getting the
Oh
origin.
yeah, they said it's an established team, so it means that
Correct.
we wouldn't have even gotten that, similar to Spider-Man, where it's just
Correct.
like, oh, this is just something that we
It's the
know.
guy who got bit by a spider. He's fine. He says Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. But anyway, so let us move.
Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
Well, it's funnier now because there's Spider-Ham. Um,
Actually,
I I don't know if Spider-Ham existed at that point yet. I think he might have. Anyway, not the point. We'll move on from Peter
he's
Porker.
mainstream now, so whatever.
Yeah, but back then he was definitely not.
That's why I said now.
No, I know. Peter Porker. Let's move on to Superman. So this trailer was actually really good. We get to see more of Ultraman, and we also get to see, excuse me, um, Lex wanting to stop a god.
Yep. And very like the fact that it was narrated by Lex, just like this
It
super
solidifies everything.
being,
Yeah.
yeah, this super being coming into my planet. Like he, it's too,
Dare being a god.
yeah. I hate to say it, but it's like two alpha males colliding, and it's like one of them cares more than the other. So it's like,
It's one of those things where and Lex Luthor gives me, and I know this is a bad comparison because they're two very different people, but I always think of Lex and Amanda Waller as two peas in the same pod. The very difference is, though, obviously, is Lex Luthor is an incredible genius and narcissist. Amanda Waller is a strategist and everything else. Very different, but my point I'm making is they're right, everyone else is wrong.
yep, yeah, pretty much,
I
yeah.
mean that's the best way to describe it because that's how Lex always runs everything. No, I'm
Hmm.
right, you're wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're
He's the
stupid.
one that knows everything.
And he's also the
Um,
only and we talked about this in the last trailer that you we saw, which was you saying, "Wow, this Lex is a Lex I can see looking at Superman right in the face saying, 'Get off my planet.'" And like saying it with the utmost confidence and like I believe it. Like I
yeah,
granted
yeah. It's
I
like
know this
they're
movie
showing that more and more, and it's like I'm loving it.
no, and that's what we want, obviously, in Lex Luthor. It's something you
Hmm.
need in Lex Luthor. And I will admit that I was not convinced, just like you, until at least the last trailer. This one made me not that there was any
This
doubts after the second
this
one.
one like
This solidified it.
solidified it.
It was like, no, we are
Absolute.
definitely together.
Yeah.
But overall, very good. Very happy with it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, realistically, the next month is going to be very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to all the movies and even actually the Ironheart.
Yeah, and we're gonna segue into that. I guess now is that like Ironheart. This trailer, I kind of wish they released this one first.
I kind of agree with you because I felt like, especially with like we talked about this show has been done like for 5, 10 years now. What it feels like,
Yeah,
um, but at least I would say I think it was done around the time of the release of Wakanda, Black Panther 2.
somewhere. I mean,
Or at
if
the
it
very
was
least, it was
like,
being filmed at the time. We can at least
yeah,
say that.
it was should have been finished within the year after that movie came out. So it's
Yeah.
been done for quite a
It's
while.
correct. So my
Um,
point I'm making was I actually like this. We also get to see what looks like supernatural mixed with technology,
yeah,
which I was very. I mean, Mike watched me watch the trailer, and I think he saw my face where I went, oh, because I
yep.
was very surprised by it. Now, the
No, that
one
was my face too. I was like, oh, this actually intrigues me now.
so there's one thing I will say that is different from the comics, but I feel like has to, is her AI.
Okay,
Now, I believe her AI in this is her mother or cousin. I forget. It's somebody we know.
I don't
Very,
remember.
very,
I
very
didn't
briefly.
even know. I didn't remember that we knew.
I well, we it's not confirmed, but I think we know the person. I
Oh,
believe I'm
okay.
almost positive we know the person.
Well,
It was like a
I
quick.
clearly saw that as someone that was important to her. So
No,
like,
correct. Anyway, in the comics, so you know, which when I say who the AI is, you'll understand why they couldn't do this. Was Tony Stark.
oh yeah, that's a no no.
No. And again, hear me out. I get it, but you understand what I mean. Like, as soon as they saw the AI, like they couldn't get Robert Downey Jr. to do that. I get it. I'm
Yeah,
not.
they're not paying him that money.
No. And here's the thing. I get it. I'm just stating like that's
I can't say that they're already paying him that money. So
yes, but not for a show. They're paying him for a movie, which is very significantly different.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
Because the idea is they're gonna 100% get their money back
Potato
mentally.
potato.
Well, no, they're not gonna get their money back for because I think his cameo in No Way Home was 6 mil,
I don't even
seven
remember at
mil.
this point. It was outrageous.
No, it was a ridiculous amount, and they're not going to do it for this show. No
Yeah.
offense,
No,
which I
absolutely
get.
not.
But anyway, my point I'm making is it looks very good. This trailer made me actually excited. We also get to see the Curse of the Hood,
Hmm.
which I do like. How it kind of eats away at you, which we sort of. They didn't dive into it too much in the What If,
They
but
didn't dive into it at all. We just knew he was the
no.
hood.
What I'm saying is because all the scars she had, you didn't know if it was
Oh,
from
okay.
battles. But I know her.
You know the character.
Granted,
Me, someone who
I
doesn't
know
know the
him more than
character.
you. I know him more than you, but I do not know him well. Um, but one of the things I'm wondering if they're going to do is show him summoning demons.
It seems like they're going that route.
No,
So,
no. Based on this, so before this trailer, I would have said they might not. But
mm.
this trailer, I'm thinking yes.
I mean, she might be the one summoning demons.
I mean,
So,
honestly, I mean, we might finally get.
no, 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 no. If you say it, that means it's not going to happen.
That's why I'm saying it, because you know what? I'm pissed off because I'm going to allow this to be the only one that shouldn't have it to have it. So Mephisto will be in this show. But anyway, also the symbol, I feel like I should know what it is. So the symbol that we see kind of glow, and then the red radiation kind of going into her suit.
Mhm.
I feel like I should know that symbol, and I don't. Um, here's the thing: I'm not saying the common man should know that. I'm just saying like I feel like it should be like they showed it for a reason for us to
It's
know.
something that you feel like you should be picking up on and you're just not clicking.
No, like I'm like maybe it's the symbol of because the first initial thought was the original demon that possesses the hood, which is Chitin. Chitin. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Well,
I
no,
feel like you just said the same thing 3 times in a row and just
I
like,
yeah, I slightly changed the tone. I didn't change the sound.
no.
Or the pronunciation, I should say. But the idea is, I'm wondering if it's actually meant to be like the devil, meaning like where it's vaguely like predicting who it is without actually being who it is. If you understand what I mean.
Hit monkey kind of thing where it's like, oh, this
Well,
is
because realistically there are multiple
there are multiple
devils.
devils. Yeah.
Yeah, so like hell has a wide range,
Hmm.
which shouldn't be all that shocking. I mean, there's a bunch of demons. Um, but yeah, so I'm very curious on that front. But anyway, let us. I'm actually looking more forward to Ironheart after this trailer. I do have to
Yeah,
say.
I mean, I like I said, this trailer definitely got me more hyped for it. I do wish this was the released first.
I
Uh,
feel like this one was like it gave us nothing, and
this
also
one set the tone a little bit more.
I feel like it
Like,
also showed like, oh, by the way, this she's tech and like magic, but we're putting two together, and
yeah,
like okay, it worked for me.
in
Like
the first trailer, it was just like, okay, this is what's going on. This is
she's
like
building a
it.
suit. He's a demon or a guy possessed by a demon, and they're working together to do
We didn't
stuff.
even
And that's
know.
it.
We didn't even realize that it was just like it's
No,
a
he's just
guy.
a guy in a hood.
Yeah, and he had scars on his back, and like
Did we even see the scars in the first trailer? I don't
we did
remember.
that. We did.
I
We
feel
got
like
like a
I should.
quick glance of his back with like swirls
Yeah,
on it.
no, I think you're right. I think I just let it go by me.
It was so lackluster that you just didn't care.
To be fair, that's probably more accurate. To be honest with you.
Like I feel like in the first trailer they tried to show way too much, and in this one it was just like if it was.
I feel like the first one was kind of like here are the characters you need to know, which is the Hood and Ironheart, and like they focus too much on her school and making an impact, and then being like a random guy being like make an impact, and like that's really what the trailer was, and like for me that was not enough. And this one, although like the other trailer kind of helps us out a little bit, like context wise, but realistically, this trailer gave us weirdly enough more context in the sense
I was
that
gonna
oh
say I think this one had so much more context because, like I said
well
in
no
the
no what
first
I'm saying
trailer,
is
it
it's
was
like what I meant by that is it's like they didn't have to explain that they're working together or why they're working together or how they're
yeah.
working together because they already did in the other trailer. That's more of what I'm getting at. However, in this, it's very clear as day that they're actually working together and literally combining their strengths to a certain degree, in one way.
Yeah,
Which
well, I
I'm
mean,
also curious to see a demonic Iron Man suit, which will be kind of cool.
yeah, that would be cool. That would be pretty cool.
Um, or a magical suit because they do exist. They do exist. In fact, Tony Stark does have a few.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
well, because he works with Doctor Strange, so why wouldn't he?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I believe when he was with the Midnight Suns, I believe his suit was endowed with magical properties,
Oh,
and I believe his suit was black.
I'm just used to again. I'm used to the MCU where they
Oh
butt
no no
heads a
no
lot.
no no
So you
no
know.
absolutely. But I think what you need to realize too is in the comics, as you know, a lot of time passes. So like, although they do butt heads in the comics, they have a lot more time to be like, let's work together and save the world. And
Yeah.
you're like, okay.
Plus multiverse. So
Well, multiverse, but also to the fact of like they can spend more time being like, well, my technology is better than your magic, and he's like, no, my magic is better than your technology. And it's like, want to combine the two and see who's right? And it's like, duh, that's what I came here for. And that's the whole point. And like, I sound stupid, but that's probably legitimately like,
That's probably a storyline.
and I don't think I'm that far off because he also has Asgardian armor as well.
Oh yeah,
So
that
it's
I
like
did know.
he has different versions. Granted, does he wear that as a regular outfit? No. It is for a very specific thing, but he also has a suit for every situation. But anyway,
Mhm.
I digress. We're going to be seeing the versatility from her, which I'm very excited about. Um, not that we didn't see it with Tony Stark. We're going to see it with her because she's not doing it because of her mental illness. She's
Mhm.
doing it because she thinks it's going to be important later on. And those are two very different things. But anyway,
Absolutely.
is there anything else you'd like to talk about any of these trailers?
I'm not going to talk about the trailers, but there are one, possibly two things, if I can remember the second thing that I want to bring up that I forgot to mention before. I don't know if you saw. Actually, I do remember the second thing
Actually,
now.
when you're done, I have something to add.
Okay. Well, first thing, before I forget it again, the Wakanda animated show coming out at
Eyes,
the
Eyes of Wakanda. Yep.
Eyes of Wakanda, they confirmed that there is going to be an Iron Fist in the show, but it is not the Iron Fist that we know. So, I'm
To the
curious.
dumb question, is this show based in 616 MCU?
As far as I know, yes, but I could have missed a confirmation in some way or another.
Okay. No, no, no. I was just curious because I wasn't sure if we got because it went animated. I feel like we weren't sure if it was confirmed or not. Because I don't
Yeah.
think it was ever questioned until the animation. Only because with animation you could literally have anybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I do not know. So I don't know if they did confirm it or not.
But we also know
So
too that there are multiple Iron Fists, and as you've seen from the show, there can be
yep.
multiple at the same time.
And depending on the time periods this takes place,
Also true because that takes a huge factor in as well. This could be the 40s for all we know,
yep.
or
Um,
even earlier. But yes, I agree with you. What was the second thing?
second thing, uh, they are making an Invincible fighting game.
Didn't they already? Or
No,
not the mobile game?
no, not the. I didn't even know there was a mobile game.
Yeah, there was.
They're
There
doing
still is. I
a.
don't know why I said it that way.
It's they're doing like a Mortal Kombat style Invincible game that is three v three.
Oh,
They
kind
just
of like
really
Marvel versus Capcom.
yeah actually yeah they did they just released the trailer yesterday I think. Um, looked okay. Um,
I get worried about that stuff because it's like it on paper it should be phenomenal or
I mean
like
it would
should be good.
work,
Well,
absolutely would
let me
work.
phrase it that. Yeah, it would work, but it's so easy to screw up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially nowadays with how, like, I mean, look at Injustice 2. Like, it was good, but then upgrade after upgrade after upgrade. It's like, just give me a fighting game.
No, agreed, agreed, agreed. Um, no, 100%. All right, interesting. So
But
one
I
of the
figured I'd share that.
no, that's actually cool. It's one of those things where it's like I want to get excited for it, but
The
I'm just
trailer looked good.
I'm just always worried because like a lot of the times that they look great, they don't always come out great.
No, I know, but like,
But
the trailer looks good, but I'm kind of,
who did
like
they
you
show
said,
in the trailer? I'm assuming
uh,
obviously Invincible, Omni Man, Adam Eve,
yep, Invincible, Omni Man, Adam Eve, they
Explode,
showed
Robot.
Explode. No, they did not show Robot. They
Did they show the
showed,
twins?
nope. They showed,
Kate, Kate.
nope. They showed two of the Viltrumites, the one with the whip hair,
Yep,
and the one that Invincible fought at the end of the last season.
Conquer.
Thank you. Um,
Because he doesn't have a name, Mike. They just give him a job. That's it.
I didn't remember his job.
You need to remember his
In
job.
my head, his job was Onslaught. So, I mean,
I don't know. Those kisses meant other things to me. He was conquering in more ways than one.
he
Um,
was also slaughtering.
I don't know how to describe him. But anyway,
But
interesting. No, that's cool. And also like the cool thing about too is like just like Marvel and DC, there are so many characters in like like in the comics.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot of characters in the show already that we
Oh,
don't even didn't
one
even
thing
get to know.
one thing I did want to mention because you brought that up was in the Invincible War, Spawn actually helps.
Oh, that's fun.
Well, because it was the multiverse and literally Spawn and I believe Spider-Man.
I think I kind of actually remember there being a Spider-Man appearance. Like they
Well,
didn't
no, there
call him
wasn't.
Spider-Man,
No,
but
but it was very obviously it was Spider-Man
yeah,
because it was Squid Guy and Man of Spider or something like that. But
yeah.
it was also voiced by a guy who voices Spider-Man in one of the shows. I think it's the Spectacular Spider-Man, who voiced the guy who was supposed to be Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
Because you remember it was he gets teleported to there and he sees a web slinger and it he actually looked a lot like the version of Spider-Man that we see in Friendly Neighborhood. Like he had like the wires and everything else. All right, did I lose you?
You froze for a second, so I kind
Oh,
of.
oh, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna talk to myself
you
then.
you go you. I'll be honest. Like you've been freezing a lot this recording, but it's not generally not long, so I can pick up what you're talking about. That time it was a solid like
Okay.
just
No,
gone.
so what I was just saying was the character, the way the Spider-Man looked, or the Spider-Man-like character that was in Invincible, looked a lot like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that we got the original suit of. You know,
Oh
like the
yeah.
steampunk look. Anyway,
Mm.
so that's all I wanted to say. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention that we didn't mention last week because I was dying was last week was our 100th episode of the podcast.
Oh really?
So
Oh.
this is officially 101. And I just want to say, um, you know, I'm, um, how do I want to put this? The hell you've put me through.
Like what are you gonna the
I'll say this.
torture
You know what it is?
the torture that I've caused brings a warm feeling in my heart.
Honestly, and we're gonna talk about it with the books. I will say this. I love the stories, but these books are so hard to read, and I hate you for them. And honestly, I think I'm gonna start vetting your ideas because if I see more names like this, Mike, I'm telling you right now, you're never gonna make another decision about this podcast again, and I'll make sure of it.
You
Okay?
need to get those audiobooks, man. It helps a ton.
And I'm like, and I'm like, and I'm like, the only names I do understand are the names of the ships, which doesn't help.
That's actually
Anyway, so nice transition into Thrawn Ascendancy, Greater Good. One thing I will say, at first I thought the flashbacks were like really like had no point in this book,
Mhm.
obviously until the very end.
It started building up more.
Well,
Yep.
it led up to what happens at the end, which I get now. But like in the beginning, I'm like, who the hell is this guy, and why do I care? He's he's growing spices on a in the farmland. What do I care? Who gives
Yeah.
a crap? Oh, and he's gonna destroy the Chiss. Okay, good luck. Granted, he was successful, but
Granted, like he almost got there, but
like he wasn't inaccurate, but he definitely wasn't fully accurate. But anyway, um, Thrawn is such an interesting character because even to his people, he's weird. He's
yeah.
not even liked. I think that's what throws me off even more is he's actually not liked.
He does things that pisses people off. Like in there's only a few people that actually like him,
It's
and
his second. Well, I don't even know what her title is. It's the caregiver to no, not the seer,
the
the
Skywalker.
Skywalker. Because I'm thinking of Third Sight, and I gotta forget
the
that.
the Skywalker and the caregiver,
Yes.
they both like him, and
Yes.
obviously we know that the caregiver idolizes him.
Also true.
Um, Aralani is friends with him. They've had a long history.
Yeah, but I don't know. I get it, but I think it's not as clear cut as the others. Like she definitely doesn't hate him. That's for sure.
I mean, she's friends with him. I mean,
I know, but it's
now
weird.
now there's a difference between, because she's friends with him, but when he starts doing things that's undermining her authority, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's a fan of his methods all the time.
Correct, and I think and I
But
think
she knows better to trust him because 9 times out of 10 he's right.
yeah, and I think the other thing too is we get to see Thrawn. So, in my opinion, this book we see Thrawn at his best, but we also see his weakness at its peak.
In
Specifically,
the political sense, yes.
well, no, but that is his weakness. Like, I know
Yeah.
that's weird to say. Like he doesn't have many weaknesses, but he doesn't understand politics.
Hmm.
So like in his mind, and I do get it. Like, all right, I know I'm jumping ahead, so I do apologize.
Either way, we're talking about the book, you know.
So my whole thing is, it's like he knew his plan was going to work and succeed,
Hmm.
and it did. But in his mind, it was going to end it all. And and her the other person was kind of like, "Hey, Thrawn, psst, you got to remember, families suck. Like you,
Uh,
like meaning like it's the politics. Like it's not going to stop them from fighting forever. It's only
yeah.
going to temporarily stop them. You're
Hmm.
missing. You think that because, and to be fair, like I get it, they're defeated so easily that they would then never do it again. But in actuality, what happens is they're eventually just going to do it again because they want to fight over this one thing just to prove that one's better than the other.
I mean, the other thing though is too that it's one of those things where the family politics, it the way that they did this in this book, it
Was
it
very weird.
it's weird, but it still resembles what the world is, where it's like, they want the credit because they want the power, they want to be recognized
I
as the best.
Can I just say that this book made me think of his people more like the Empire than I thought of before.
Yeah, I mean, they're
I
different.
mean, the more like the hierarchy stuff. I'm not saying like their ideals and everything else, but I'm talking about like their structure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's different, but at the same time, the
It's
way that they
very
want to
similar
go,
too. It's weird.
yeah, the way they want to go about doing things, and like how
Absolutely.
personal glory and whatever. But at the
I
same
am the
time,
one who's going to get everything.
but at the same time, yeah, no, I mean, it is the same, because it's like,
No, it is.
it's my personal glory, and they're saying it's, oh, for the betterment of my family, but you want the glories, whereas it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's kind of like it's
for
the
the
same thing with the Empire, where it's like it's for the greater of the Empire, so I can be higher in the ranks.
yeah. um I I
I have a dumb question. Are there only three families?
Dude, they went through the entire book of saying how there's so many different families.
I know, but I feel like I only like dealt with three of them.
I mean, there's the myth, which is Thrawn's
No,
family.
I know. Which is also so weird that they all start their name with their last name, Mithranion or whatever. How do you say his name?
McThrawn Yorodo.
Yeah, that's too much. And it's not even space. Like you're technically pronouncing it wrong because there's it's the asterisk in the middle where it's like it breaks it up. So
You're
it's
gonna
not.
tell you're gonna tell me that the way that Disney chose to pronounce it is wrong.
The look you got.
you're you're
See,
such you're such an American.
I'm not only gonna do that. I'm also gonna tell you that based on my English language, that's not how you pronounce that name.
Okay,
Okay?
yeah. It's like coming into Massachusetts and trying to tell me how to say my cities. you,
Dorchester.
you
Anyway,
damn outsider.
um, but all joking aside, I do have to say, like, the names always threw me off. Obviously, they did.
I knew that the names are gonna be tough.
But to be
Like,
fair, I do have to say though, I do like the story, and I think the reason why I kept with it, although like, if characters were not mentioned enough, I'm not gonna lie to you, they're gone. Mentally,
oh,
they're
I
gone,
mean, it's
and they
tough to
might be
follow.
blending in with somebody else, and I'm okay with it. But the idea is, I also like the Magic, Magi, Magi, Magi.
The leader of the refugees,
Basically, the one that was going to commit suicide.
the mad the magistrate. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
gonna
that's not
say
what they called themselves, though. They called them the Magis. Didn't they abbreviate it?
No. See, now here again, audiobook versus non-audiobook. So
No,
you're
that's
kind of
fair.
just like going along with it. I know I'm saying it wrong, but it's not the Magus. That's what it was. The Magus.
No, you're correct. Yeah, because it's the way it's spelled. There's no way it was pronounced the way you first said it.
Yeah, correct.
But no, that at least the second one I 100% believe as being accurate.
No, that
Anyway,
the Magus. That's what it is.
yeah. So
Um,
I like that because it wasn't so much what they did; it was the fact of how Thrawn dealt with them.
mhm.
And I thought that was the coolest part of the whole thing because Thrawn's like, put him in the like he put him in the
The
time
pod,
the pod,
the
yeah.
hibernation chamber.
Thank you.
Let's just call it that.
The hibernation chamber, and I thought that was kind of cool too. And then also when they finally get released, discussing on why you shouldn't kill yourself.
Hmm. And then still being stubborn and still being like, nope, you're wrong.
Yeah, but I still thought it was kind of cool that there was at least a conversation about it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
also,
Until the medallion, handkerchief, whatever the thing was, the jewelry.
the
Uh,
brooch.
Thank you. That's what it is. The brooch.
I had to think about it for a minute. I apologize.
Yeah. Hey, I was sitting here saying a bunch of random things. So
I know, and I'm like, it wasn't that. It was something else. And then I realized once you said jewel, it clicked in my head. It's the brooch.
yeah. Um, I think that this one showed this how multiple different species works in this universe, and
Yes.
like obviously with Hapleaf and his species and being able to be mind readers and using that to manipulate whatever to literally incite a civil war for their master.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously how the chiss work and how uh the ones that were guarding the Magus when Thrawn arrived to that species. Um,
I think I know what you're talking about.
the one who brought Thrawn to the Magus.
Oh
Um,
yes, 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 yes.
I forget their name, but
I at least know who you're talking about now.
and then obviously, like I said, the Hapleaf's master,
There is a
Jigstus.
Yep. There's also another thing that I think we need to discuss too, which is also huge, was when Thrawn. I forget what the name of the planet is. I feel like we went to so many.
We did go to a few.
The one with the prince.
Oh, the Vax homeworld. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like sure. I hate saying it that way. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I was like sure, only because like mentally I don't even care. Because what got me was anybody else other than Thrawn would have decimated that entire fleet in a heartbeat.
oh yeah, uh-huh.
And Thrawn's like, something's weird here. And just being like him being able to be like looking at the situation, everyone else, because they opened fire. Granted, not fully, because he knew that they were not using their full power.
Hmm.
But the idea of him realizing it so quickly and everyone else being like, we need to blow them all up,
Well, it's one of those things too where like Thrawn knows their strategy, so the fact that they weren't going with their normal strategy is like,
is
okay,
really
something
wrong.
is wrong.
Well, that was the other thing too, where he was like, he knows them enough to be like, something's not right. And
Hmm.
then he
And I
goes,
mean, even his first in command is just like, well, things can change. Like, what do you like? And he's like, no.
and I think one of the big things too with Thrawn is also somebody who, and again, I'm jumping around and I do apologize, but like Thrawn is one of those people who I call them people, um, creatures
He is
who
people.
he's a person. Um, he's
He's
not
not
a
a
human.
human,
No,
but he's
he's not.
people.
He's not a human. You're right. Um, him adapting on the fly, like him giving up his command to the Magist, being
Magus.
like Magus, sorry, but again, not to them, but to his second in command, or well, I forgot what her title is. It wasn't she. Was she second in command, or is she the
The caregiver?
caregiver? Thank you.
She has no power at all.
I know, but didn't he give her that power
It was
temporarily?
fake.
No, I know, but the idea is he was okay with the facade, where
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone else was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
She's just a caregiver."
She didn't like it either.
No, but to be fair, I mean, she knows her place. But the idea is, it's like Thrawn being like, "I don't care about my title. as
Hmm.
long as we get the results. And I think
And
that's
they said that after when they were trying to convince the mages to not kill their people after they woke her up, and how her name is Thalius, how Thalius
yes.
in how Thalius just interrupted Thrawn and like took over and was like, "Listen, this is if your people is dead, why would they continue to make these brooches?" And she apologized to him about jumping the gun, and he was like, "You should know by now that as long as you get results, I don't care what you do." Like,
Well, and that's kind of the point where he's. I really think like I mean, obviously we know he's very much out of the norm, right? Like he's.
which like I said, even in the Empire side of things, like that differs from like he doesn't care about structure as long as the results are there.
Yeah, as weird as it sounds, he doesn't care about the empire as a. Let me phrase it this way: he
He
cares about the empire as a whole, but he doesn't care about the individual parts. Like he doesn't care about like who's in charge or anything else, as long as we all go towards the same goal.
he only cares about the Empire as long as they're able to help protect his people. So like he want
That's also fair.
his goal is to strengthen the Empire so that way his people won't die.
Yes.
Um, but that's here or there.
I have a
I
question.
don't.
Did they mention in the first book why they live underground in more detail?
The detail was that they kind of abused the resources of their planet so
To
much
like
that
cause it to be
it
cold.
became yes, that it became uninhabitable.
Did they say it in the first book, or am I just stupid?
That was in the first book. Yeah,
Okay.
it was when they mentioned it. They did mention in the first book when Aralani and Thrawn went to her family's homestead because I don't know if you remember, but they were traveling there, and that's when Thrawn was looking around and he was like, "What happened to our planet? There's no people here."
That's right. No, I was only asking because I felt like I only learned it this book. Like I had an idea like something happened to the planet and they were living underground, but I don't think I registered that it was because they screwed up.
Again, there's a lot that happened in these books that you
No,
need
that's
to
fair.
do
That's
it a
fair.
few times.
No, I know,
Um,
but I figured I'd ask because I was like, did I miss it? Because it definitely, I at least feel better that it wasn't like a major like, this is it type of thing in
I
book
mean, yeah,
one.
it's one of those things where, like, in lore sense, it's like it's a secret for their enemies. So they don't they not the only ones that know that are high ranking officials.
Okay.
So like they don't exactly talk about it because they don't want the risk of telling
Yeah,
the
they
other
don't know it.
species that,
Well, they
oh,
don't. Yeah, they don't
we're
want
not
them
as
to.
strong as we used to be, or
Correct.
whatever.
Or we're not. Yeah, we screwed up and then we're easy targets because, or the thought is we're easy targets.
Yeah.
Also bringing that up. The reason why I bring that up is because when he was talking about um, the solution about living underground,
Mm.
and saying how his his people were able to do it. And she's like, oh, well, that's only like a few people, and he's like, no, it's like 3 bill.
Oh, the mages. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, it's like about 3 billion. Like that's just a small number.
It's like, oh, what? Maybe like 2,000 of your people are still alive.
And
Yeah. No.
I just like how she's like so much like that he's like, nah, I just like 3 billion, and I'm just like, okay, well, that's a significant number.
Oh, absolutely. Um, but yeah, no, I've really enjoyed these books. As I was going through it, I did forget that in this one they were doing the Hapleaf flashbacks.
Yeah.
So when I was listening to it again, I was like, I feel like Scott's not going to like this one as much, and I don't really blame him for that.
So I think for me was, I mean, obviously I was given it a chance. I mean, was going to finish it no matter what. I mean, I already started the trilogy. I'm not going to stop mid, right? I think for me it was more the fact of it didn't work in the beginning. I think it's something you have to read again for you to appreciate more,
Yeah.
because the first time I'm not listening too closely to the first couple of flashbacks because I'm
Mm,
like, it has nothing to do with this. I mean, I got the gist of it. Don't get me wrong, but like I feel like if I read it again, I'd be focusing more on the flashbacks because of knowing all the details of exactly how he was able to basically destroy or mess up the Chiss Empire.
mm,
Oh, I'm sorry, the Chiss Ascendancy.
yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know if you could pick this up through reading, but did you happen to hear the scene of the little girl eating?
which is funny to me because I read it, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Until you brought that up to me, I don't even register that there was food in the mouth.
There was literally one part where the mother yelled at the daughters, like,
No, no,
"Don't talk with your mouth full."
I know, but because and I think
Because you were reading it instead of listening to it,
so.
it's
Like
just
to me,
not. So I was just,
it's funny you bring that up because I forgot about that, and so like when that scene happened, I was like, all right, whatever, because it
yeah,
did
no,
well, because it one, I didn't remember what we had talked about earlier because you did warn me. You did warn me. I will definitely say that. There's no question of whatsoever that you did not warn me. However, I didn't register like at that point when I'm reading it, being like, "This is the scene Mike's talking about," and then no concept of it whatsoever.
no, yeah, obviously, like
But
I
I
said,
find it
I
funnier
just,
that you had to listen to it and he's
uh,
actually chewing or making it sound like he's eating, which
yeah,
makes it funnier to me. So I like you suffering just a little bit.
yeah. Um,
So no, it did not bother me.
no, obviously it wasn't gonna bother you,
No, no, I
but
know, but I honestly don't. And because you mentioned it, I would have completely forgotten about that scene because to me it wasn't anything. But I get it as a audio listener that you would definitely hear it, obviously.
oh yeah, yeah. No, but I think this book was interesting, taking being able to see the lower class of the Chiss as well, in terms of like the farmer and then like the
Yeah, I thought
lower
that was
officials instead
I
of
thought that was
like,
interesting too, where we kind of get to see like the hierarchy more, where it's like instead of it just being the high ranking that we've
mm,
been seeing, let's be honest, or at least the royal families. And I know I'm very much like
you're
making that.
simplifying it,
I'm
but yeah,
simplifying exactly. That's what I mean. Like I'm simplifying it, but the idea is it's like we seeing the families or the big families and not really focusing on the little guy. And although we didn't get to see them as much, but we got to see them enough to kind of know what was going on, or at least
yeah,
get the idea of like the top and the bottom.
yep. I liked that, like, this book, obvious, which is the point of his people, is like the blindness to power and glory, is like the minor official just saw what he wanted to see, even though like then the upper official was like, this is clearly a trap.
Yep.
Like, you are just like walking down, the guy is like dangling a little string for you and you're just hopping along, and it's like he was so blind with wanting, with ambition, that he just didn't, you know, they couldn't see it.
Correct.
And I thought that was great. I thought, like, the Thrawn books really mimic real life politics, and I mean even real life society, even though it's, different, but it I think that's why I like it so much, is like it has that real life aspect to it.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I will not question that, but I think, and I don't want you to take this as a bad thing because it's not. It's not meant to be. I think Star Wars in general has always done a good job of making it
Oh
legitimate
yeah.
politics.
Have you seen? I don't. Have you been seeing the things I've sent you about, like,
Oh
Andor?
no! What's worse is I saw it after you sent that to me, meaning like I saw it on my own
Like,
feed,
saw the things.
and I
Yeah.
was like, "What the heck is going on?" And I'm like, "It's terrifying," and it's like, isn't it like day 5 now?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Like not
It's
day 5 of incidences, but day 5 of like them coming in.
yeah.
And there was also, I mean, I won't get into it too much, but the idea was there was a tweet that was sent that people were really pissed about. That we'll discuss offline. Um, but
Try to stay politically neutral.
it's hard. It's hard because honestly, I'm on Andor's side. I mean, no, not Andor. What was the name of the planet?
Gorm.
I'm on Gorm's side.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I mean, there's no question of it, but I'm just saying it anyway. Um, yeah, where? Who was that? Oh, I remember. I was with Tiberio when I
Ah,
when I first got your text, being like, because at first, what threw me off was I didn't realize it escalated to the point that it did fully until you sent that to me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on in Los Angeles? And then I watched it, and I went, oh. I think I read the title, and I just went, oh, it's it's Gorm. And of course, Mike's like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's bad. That's all. That's all you need to know. It's bad. You don't need
That's
to know
funny.
what the comparison is. It's just bad. Um,
Just live in your world. It's okay.
honestly, just know that it's bad and go with it. That's how I'm really. Um, but no, overall, I mean, Star Wars has done a great job overall of just mimicking politics in all of the bad ways perfectly.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I
obviously
mean,
exaggerating, but I mean, like, but still.
at this point, I don't know if it's exaggerated, but
I, you know what? I'll say they don't have blasters.
sure,
They have
sure.
guns, but they don't have blasters. I mean, I'll say this: they definitely have like the taser batons. Like, I can't say no to that.
You just keep adding. Oh, they don't have that. Well, they have this.
Oh no,
No,
I
but they
said
don't
they
have that. No,
they
but
don't
they
they
have
don't
this.
they don't have laser blasters, so we're good. I mean, it's not exactly the same.
Oh,
They just have high weaponry. Um, but yeah, overall this book was good. We get to see the whole like fallout with the families. Excuse me, fighting over literally what is thought to be an empty mind.
well, it is legitimately an empty mind, but they think it is a mind that is
Filled with
it is the
energy.
rarest metal in Star Wars, which is meant to it's called Nyx, and it's what they use for their ships.
Why does everyone name the most powerful metal like with an N? Because there's like nth metal in
Oh,
DC, and I believe there's actually one in Marvel that's supposed to be the best of it all, and it begins with an N as well.
well, the two that I remember is A and V.
Adamantium and vibranium, as weird as it sounds, they are actually considered obsolete. They all do
Oh,
different. Well, so hear me out. So like vibranium is all defense, adamantium is all offense. There is something, if I remember correctly, that was created or found. I don't remember which. That is supposed to be better than the two of them. But it's also like just like those two are rare. Like because it's so great, it's even rarer than them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense.
It's like you got to get the tear of Galactus at the sunrise of the 13th quarter moon. Oh, speaking of which, actually, there is a question I did have because this actually brought this up. Um, the Star Day, is that supposed to be their birthday?
Yes.
Okay. I figured, but I was like, is it something to do like with them like growing up? Like is it not actually their birthday or like
Yeah, no, their star day. Yeah,
I
it's
figured
their
as much,
birthday.
but I was like,
Yeah.
I figured I'd ask because Mike would know. So I was like, let me just make sure to be safe because it's like I put it mentally as their birthday and then just didn't question it ever again.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, they only brought it up once, so I
No, I
mean,
know, but it was enough because it was like their fourth. I think what threw me off was them saying it was their fourth star day.
10th. No,
Oh,
yeah,
10th.
10th,
But it was still a
10th.
low number. It was still a low number.
Yeah, I mean, she's a kid, so I mean,
No, I know, but mentally that's not how I was thinking of it. I'm like, she's older than 10. But then I was like, well, maybe the birthdays aren't the same way as I thought they would be.
nope.
But to be fair, it might be longer than a year only because it's the star day. So whenever the star gets over to where you were born.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't know. I don't know how their planet rotates and whatever, but I mean,
Yeah, we don't know how many suns they have.
plus, you know how it always goes. Then when you're space traveling, your age gets all discombobulated, and
Also, they focused a little bit more on, or at least the strain of the Skywalkers using the third eye,
yes, yep,
which I
the
thought was
struggle that
interesting.
they have.
But
Yep.
also how like some people don't care. I mean, like some commanders being like, "Push on. You work
Oh,
for
yep.
12 hours. You work for 12 hours." And Thrawn's like, "You take your hour and 10 minutes."
I mean, they talked about that with the caretakers about how the caretakers just do it as a job and don't actually care about the Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I mean, I'll give you a little hint. They dive more into that in the next book. So that's another cool thing.
Can I ask? Do they dive into the concept of it all, or do they dive into a specific aspect of either the relationship or the navigation?
the concept.
Oh, that's right.
I don't really know a proper way to answer that, but
Mike's
yes,
gonna
the concept.
Mike's gonna say a lot of things, if not everything.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that as an answer because I think that sums it up easier without
Yeah.
giving anything away. Obviously. Um, yeah. Overall, I mean, like I said, I like this book. I didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. It is a tough read, but I think that this one was less of a tough read. I feel like, but I think that had to do with the fact of like it was clear as day with the flashbacks technically not being related to the what I thought was the main story. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Like obviously it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Like
You get what?
obviously at the beginning you're just like, this is a random character.
Like
Why
this
do I
is some
care?
guy
And then
on a
as
spice farm, and then you realize at the end it's like this guy just did something. I didn't
the
even know.
these
He,
spices destroyed the entire civilization.
I went from going this idiot. I don't care about digging up for spices, and now is taking down this massive galactic empire with ease, and I'm like, what?
When did we get over here?
When did the spices take out the people? Where was I?
I missed something here.
Like I clearly didn't fully understand what those flashbacks were meant to be. Because I feel like had I known the spices equal death, I would have read more into it.
You should know spices equal death.
And spices is like the definition of everything. No, but like in Star Wars, it literally is everything.
It is. It is.
It's gunpowder, it's energy, it's drugs, it's you name it, it is it. And I'm not even exaggerating. And you know
No,
it.
you're really not.
That's the sad part. It's like the universal word of drugs. It's like when you got some spice, it also could mean firearms. It's like ridiculousness. But
um,
but no, I liked it. And I'm very curious about where the third book ends, like how the
mhm.
third book ends. But what is the name of the third one? I mean, I can look it up, but I'm just didn't know if you knew it because I'm not looking it up right now.
I just looked it up. The third book is called Lesser Evil.
I'm so curious of what that actually means.
Hmm. Like I said, these books are very good at like hinting at what the story is actually supposed to mean, while also just like
Well, because like
it's in your
chaos,
face.
chaos obviously being the name of the area, not actual chaos.
Hmm.
And then
Chaos
this,
Rising makes
no,
sense.
no, I know absolutely. And then
Greater
this
good,
greater good is like he's doing things for what he thinks is the betterment of his people, even if it's against his people.
going against what the standing orders of his civilization are, because this is the smart thing to do instead of just you know. So now here's Lesser Evil.
Yeah, which means I'm assuming we're going to be thinking of Thrawn as the lesser of evil, or the Empire being the lesser of the evil. Because again, I don't know until I read it. I know
You
you've already
will.
read it and you won't tell me. So you're
Yep.
a jerk. So we're gonna be moving on because Mike's
I
gonna.
have.
Oh,
I have one question.
okay.
I thought of this after I finished reading this book or listening to this book. Do you want my Audible account so you could listen to this?
And at this point, no.
Okay.
As weird as it sounds, I think for me, and I don't remember if we discussed this before. My fear is if I do the audible, I am not gonna be focused. My,
I
I,
I can tell you. I can tell you that it is very hard not. I do zone out when I'm listening to it because I'm working while I'm listening, but it is difficult to zone out because they make it like a theatrical thing. It's not just like
yeah,
it's
it's
not,
the different voices. Each character has their own kind of tone and everything else, way of speaking.
but it is also Star Wars. So there's music in the background. There's if they're in a gunfight, there's blasters going off. There's a spaceship going. Like they
No, that's fair.
it
But you understand my point. For me, it's
no
like and I'm not trying to, because I get your point on why you do it, because it's easier for you, because you're working, you can easily like reread like re-listen to a chapter. So I get that.
yeah
I think for me, and again, I think it's because of how I am.
That's fine.
I
I
would
just figured I'd offer to
no,
help
and
you
I
make it easier with the names.
no, and I appreciate it, but I think at this point I'm okay with the names. However, I do have to say is I do want more stories of this area told from like actual live action stuff because
Yeah.
I think this area is so cool. And again, I think we've also talked about this too with like visions and everything else, where we're seeing the the multitude of the universe in a way we've never seen before.
hmm When we
And I
finish this
want
next
more of it.
book, when we finish the next book, we will go into much greater detail about how of the possibilities of what's to come, um, and how this could how like just in general these stories themselves were related to like Ahsoka,
Hmm.
and so obviously, like I'm trying to keep it contained into the book that we're reading, and it's as you always, when you know something that I don't know, it's tough for you to talk on. Like when we were watching the Defender saga, you didn't want to talk too much about it because you didn't want to spoil things. Same
Well, that's
with
the other
me.
thing too is and I get that too, where it's like I think the other thing too was like certain things I wasn't sure if it was a spoiler, so I kept my mouth shut because it's like, did this happen in this episode, like in this season, or did it
Yeah,
happen in like this or that? But anyway, that being said, it was just more the fact of like I was just curious. I want to see more of this because I think I've discussed this with you too. I know it's weird to say is I actually like the stories without Jedi.
yeah.
Again, not to say I don't like the Jedi, obviously. I'm stating that I've statistically loved the stories of non Jedi significantly more overall than those of stories of Jedi.
I mean, technically, in terms of Star Wars, the best rated Star Wars project is Andor, which has nothing to do with the Force or Jedi. So,
I'm one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. But that was the movie, so I stopped myself.
but I
Because
mean, no,
that
it's one
was
of
the
those
movie,
things.
that wasn't the actual
No,
show.
it was the movie, but I mean, it's one of those things where it relates to you more. You can't relate to like a space wizard. I mean,
No, and I think like Rebels was a good one too, but it wasn't just Jedi. It was a tale of literally the rebellion.
yeah,
And so, like, although like the focus was Ezra, he isn't or wasn't a Jedi.
he wasn't a Jedi until the third season, I think.
Technically, yeah, I think so. Because he was, I don't think he started using his lightsaber until season two.
Yeah, season 2 was when
Season
like
three
when
was
he
where he
started
actually,
training.
but season three
Season
was he was actually like what you would
season
consider
3
a
was when he
Jedi.
got the attitude and Kanan died and whatever.
Shaved his
So
head and ruined everything.
yeah, rebellious teen.
My dad died, so I gotta be like super strong.
Don't ever do that again.
The sad part is I'm not wrong.
I didn't say you were wrong. I
I
just
didn't
said I
say you
don't
were
want you
wrong.
to do it again.
Again, I agree with you, but we can agree that that was
am,
unfortunately accurate.
am I going to have to add this to the things you're not allowed to say?
I don't know. I think that one's a weird one because it's not a word. It was how I said it. I think it was it wasn't like normally it's. You understand my point I'm making, right?
I want you to remember that me and Bardo rule that you weren't allowed are never allowed to say who's your daddy again. So
No, what I'm saying, no, but what I'm saying is it's not. I don't think it's the words that I said that bothered you this time. It was, it was the voice
it was how
of
you
it.
said it. Yeah.
Correct, which is different than the words of the other stuff that I'm not allowed to say.
It's-
No, put it this way: no matter how I say the other words, it doesn't matter how I change my voice. It will not be allowed. However, what I just did is I could say things like that and not have a problem. However, if I say things in that tone, no matter what it is, you're gonna hate it.
Oh, I mean, yes.
So I think that's the difference. So I think that one's a tougher one. I think it's the safe to say is I'm not allowed to use that tone of voice anymore
That's fine. We'll go with that. Sure.
because I don't think I said anything specific that you could be like you can't say that because I didn't. Anyway, let us move on to your character spotlight.
Okay. I'm going to be doing my special trend that Scott loves so much.
The holiday theme.
It is technically holiday themed,
Oh,
but
okay.
it is month based.
May, June, or July.
We're in June. So,
I'm so sorry, Your Majesty, but continue.
all right. Well, anyways, June is Pride Month, so I figured I'd touch on
Oh.
DC's first transgender character.
Oh, wait, I think I know this character. It's from Supergirl.
No, no, that is not DC's first transgender character.
It was the
I
first.
thought it.
It was the
It
first
was
live
the first
action.
live action, but
My
not
apologies. I do not know then. This is actually really good. I'm
okay.
learning.
There's not that much on her, but I figured I'd go over a quick little thing. So the character's name is her human name is Kate Godwin.
Why is it always
Her
something stupid like that?
her
My name is
her
Godwin.
her alias is Coagula. Coagula.
Like with the blood, like coagulate almost.
Yes, yes. I Coagula. Well, okay.
No, no,
Anyways,
I appreciate it, but I'm mentally like thinking in my head like to me I'm thinking like coagulate.
yeah, it's coagulate, but coagula. Yeah,
Yeah,
take
make it more
take away
fancy.
the eight.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, and she first appeared in DC Comics back in September of 1993.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so her origin: Kate was born as Clark Godwin and grew up as a boy for most of her early life,
All
but
right, I'm
began
gonna
to
stop right
realize
there because Clark, really? You couldn't think of a better name? Yeah, I have no
why
problem. Superman.
why you got to change what's already working. Don't change what's not broke.
Oh, they did. They went with Kate.
Shut up.
Not wrong. I think the best part is you realize that was right. You're like, I got nothing.
I don't know how to say that, counter that, so just.
It's like you win, but I don't want you to win.
Anyways,
My bad.
uh,
So born as Clark.
born as Clark, grew up as a boy for most of her life, but began to realize she was more comfortable as a girl in her teens. She was subsequently the victim of intense bullying growing up and exposed to frequent transphobia into her adult life.
Shock.
At some point, she underwent hormone therapy, sex reassignment surgery, and minor facial plastic surgery to make herself more comfortable in her own skin. She had a career in computer programming as well as prostitution. It was while working as a prostitute that Kate gained her powers after sleeping with Rebus, a combination of Larry Trainer, a negative energy being, and physician Eleanor Poole. I can't even. I don't know. After the experience, she found herself able to liquefy solids and solidify liquids, each
Oh,
with just a touch.
all right. So it literally is. Her name matches what her power does. Okay.
Yep. It sometimes it works, right?
It doesn't always, which is why I was like, "Where are we going with this?" Because I was thinking blood powers, but that works even better.
um, after acquiring her powers, Kate tried to become a superhero, naming herself Coagula, and applied to join the Justice League, but was turned down. Her fortunes would change, however, when, by chance, she encountered the supervillain Codpiece, who was using his high-tech weaponry to go on a spree of bank robberies. Donning a novelty frog mask from a costume store to hide her identity, Coagula was able to get him to lower his guard with flattery, then melt his arsenal of weaponry with a touch, capturing the villain. The scene was noticed by two bystanders, George and Marion, who happened to be members of the Doom Patrol. They then proceeded to offer Kate a place on the team. Kate was brought to the Doom Patrol's head, the head of the Doom Patrol, Nihilus Calder, for an interview. And while the two argued, Kate ultimately decided to join the team, although she decided to not wear the superhero costume she had made for herself after realizing that none of the other team members of the Doom Patrol wore costumes themselves. Over time, she would become very close to her teammate Cliff and after they bonded over their shared body
Dysmorphia.
dysmorphia,
Dysmorphia, isn't it?
there's an S.
Oh, okay.
Dysmorphia.
I'm wondering if there's a mistype.
Oh, it might be. Um, their shared body dysmorphia with Kate's transgender background and Cliff's cyborg history. Kate would also grow close to Dorothy Spinner when she helped her gain better control over powers with the help of a witch doctor. After some years working together in the Doom Patrol, tragedy would strike the team when Kate and Cliff brought Dorothy on a camping trip with the intention of uniting her with her birth mother. When Kate told Dorothy of their plans, however, she panicked out of fear that Kate and Cliff would wanted to get rid of her. The resulting distress caused Dorothy's psychic powers to trigger an explosion that outright killed Kate and sent Dorothy and Cliff into comas from which the former would never awake. that's a face.
Was not prepared for that. Prepared for a lot of things, but that was not it.
Like I said, very short. Her powers and abilities. Her powers: molecular reconstruction.
Yep.
Coagula can turn solids into liquids and liquids into solids. Like I said, with
Now,
just a touch.
can she only? So she can't mess with gas.
As far as I know, it's just liquids and solids.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Still a very powerful ability. I'm not trying to change that whatsoever. I'm just curious, in my own sense, to know that.
I feel I feel like if she could manipulate gases, then the psychic explosion from Dorothy might. I don't know. It doesn't really say in this what the explosion was. So
Yeah.
if
It
she
could have
could,
been an explosion of psychic energy, which would not have been a gas.
then she wouldn't have been able to. But if it was like her
Psychic
psychic
explosion.
abilities caused something to explode, then maybe she could have stopped it
Potentially.
potentially.
No, I get
Uh,
your point. I just, yeah, it's because she technically could have made something liquid into a solid, or turn something into a liquid, make it in front of her as a solid, and then protect herself.
yeah, true. Um,
But apparently she's not
so
doing that.
some abilities as well. She is a computer hacker. She has an extensive background in computer programming and is capable of exploiting and reworking almost any computer code she encounters. Um, so like I said, she was a member of Doom Patrol, so she was she made appearances in a decent amount of their in their comics. Um,
For a second, I thought you meant the show, and I was going to be like, I don't think so.
I I couldn't say.
Well, no, the reason why I say that is just because I feel like it would have been more news that she was in it.
That's true. Um, but yeah, that is Coagula. Like I said, I figured for Pride Month I'd talk about the the two spotlights that I will be doing this month. I figured I'd talk about either gay or transgender characters. Um,
Such an ally. Um, I do have to say this was also ahead of its time because it was 1993,
yeah,
which is I think the most shocking piece of the whole thing. Like the story itself, but the idea of 1993 is huge.
I mean the fact that this, like you said, 1993, this came out in 1993. That's that's a big thing.
No, no, absolutely.
Like if this came out today, it would still be a big deal, but not.
It wouldn't be either. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's weird to say because it's like, but you get my
in the
point.
comic book world, it wouldn't be as shocking as it came out 30 years ago.
Correct.
Um,
No,
so
absolutely, and that's my point I'm making. Where it's like, oh, interesting, and I find that very impressive. To be perfectly frank with you, um, but yeah, I actually was very intrigued by that. I do have to say, like that one threw me off because I legitimately thought I knew the character.
well, what's funny is that
Thought it was Kate.
I had looked up that character because I was like, oh, I'll talk about this
So
character. Then I was like,
I've done a character spotlight on that character. That's why
oh, you did.
I
Oh,
did. So that's why it made me laugh because I was like, oh, I know
you
this
actually
character.
know.
I actually know the character because I did it. I did it for I believe I think I might have done it for the same thing. Or no, I think I might have. I don't remember if it was when they first came into the Supergirl, or if it was like I forgot what it was. But anyway, I had done it like around that time, and I think it was also Pride Month as well, where I
Mm.
did it, and I was very surprised because I thought they were the first trans character in DC, not realizing that it was only the first live action.
Yeah.
Which either way, I mean, still great. I'm just stating like I was surprised.
No, no. Like I said, I was
And also,
looking up this character because
it
I
should
knew
be
that.
known too, because I think we talked about this too. The character in the show was brand new compared to the comics.
Yes, because
Although
the
the character
character exists
existed,
in the comics,
but this
but
version of the character never existed until the
until
show.
the live action. Yep.
Yes, because I do remember reading that, and I was like, interesting. But overall, next week we're going to be talking about any trailers that come out. The third book in the Thrawn trilogy.
We're talking about Tron now. Wow.
Actually, the fact that they're coming out with did you see the trailer for the new Tron?
I did not. Oh, no, no, no. I did.
You
I
had
did
to
see the.
because we saw a movie, not together, but in general.
Yeah, that's why I was like, no, I did.
That one threw me off to no end. I was not prepared for that. That was not on my bingo card. But anyway, um,
They release a new one every so often because
it's a movie that you would never think they would reboot, and they continue to do so.
and they
Although
do
it's
it every
technically,
time.
to be fair, technically none of them are a reboot. They're all connected.
That I did not know.
Yeah. So without getting into too much detail, because I'll be quick, the villain in the newest Tron, or the newest one that you know of, not the one that's coming out, the one before it, was the hero in the first grouping of movies,
Oh,
if I remember correctly. So
interesting.
it was just a thought process for you. Anyway, so yeah, so it's going to be another quick episode, and then after that, we're going to be doing the Visions season 3. No, season 1,
Because season 3 is
which is
coming
coming
out.
out. Yes, but because we never discussed season 1, I forgot because I marked it on my calendar for whatever reason, Visions 3, and I was like, and I said it, and now I'm like, I don't think that's right.
That doesn't sound right.
Sounds like I'm wrong because it doesn't come out until August.
October
Yeah, sure.
comes out at the end of the year.
It comes out sometime after this month. How about that?
Either way.
So, thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel Podcast. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.